Shana Tova and Boker Tov. Rosh Hashanah is also known as Yom HaZikaron, the day of memory, the day when we think back on the year that has passed, the deeds from the year that fill our book of life. We consider how we can transform that book into a book of life well lived. This, of course, does not mean always joyous and happy, but one that is full of meaning and relationship even amidst hardship. May our prayers this day be answered as we rise to be God's partners in transforming ourselves, our community, and our country. In addition to our traditional prayers this morning, we will incorporate photos from our congregants and a special video featuring cantors from around the country. During our silent prayer this morning, we will invite you to use pages from the High Holy Day Care Package to reflect on the year that has gone by, physical pages representing a bit of the celestial book of life. And as always, please feel free to explore the pages of the Machzor, the High Holy Day prayer book so full of poetry, inspiration, and learning. In addition to the copies that we sent home, you can also access digital flipbooks of the prayer book via our homepage on our website, which you can view on any digital device. Our service continues on page 142 with Baruch Hu. Page 150, Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kivod Malchuto.
Page 152, Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננת לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Page 163. Remember the stories of slavery, and you will never stop working for freedom. Remember their fear at the edge of the sea, and self-doubt will never defeat you. Remember when desperation turned to celebration, and you will never let go of hope. Remember the words of the Baal Shem Tov. Forgetfulness leads to exile. Remembrance is the secret of redemption. Page 164, Mi Chamocha.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, norat tehilot osei fele.
Page 186, Avot v'imahot with Lamancha.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. זכרנו לחיים, מלך חפיץ בחיים, וכותבנו בספר החיים, וכותבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים.
למענך אלוהים חיים, למענך אלוהים חיים. Remember us all tonight, oh sovereign, who delights in life and in strife.
The words of these next prayers, collectively known as Unatana Tokef, are the most awe-inspiring of the high holy days. Who shall live and who shall die? The metaphor strikes a deep emotional chord. Rather than fear, may these powerful words instead fill us with humility, fill us with a recognition that so much is out of our control, fill us with the sense to let go of those things we cannot or should not control. May they leave us inspired to live lives of kindness and compassion. May this prayer help us to see that this pandemic is not a judgment from God, but it surely offers the opportunity to reflect on that which is most important, to reflect on the ways each one of us fills our book of life. Page 174 to 176, Unatana Tokef. Page 176. And so a great shofar will cry, Tekiah. A still small voice will be heard. Angels in a whirl of fear and trembling will say, "Behold the day of judgment, for they too are judged. In your eyes, even they are not blameless." All who come into the world pass before you like sheep before their shepherd. As a shepherd considers the flock when it passes beneath the staff, you count and consider every life. You set bounds, you decide destiny, you inscribe judgments. Page 178.
Rosh Hashanah, Yikatevun, Yom Kippur, Yekatevun, Rosh Hashanah, Yikatevun, Yom Kippur, Yekatevun. Come on, Yavrun. Rosh Hashanah, Yikatevun, Yom Kippur, Yekatevun, Rosh Hashanah, Yikatevun, Yom Kippur, Yekatevun.
Uteshuva, utefila, utsedaka, ma'avirin et roa hagazera. But through return to the right path, through prayer and righteous giving, we can transcend the harshness of the decree. In the booklet included in your High Holy Day care package are pages to help with reflection during the silent prayer. Just as we imagine our deeds inscribed in a heavenly book, we will use this brief time to look back on the year now ending, to think about our ups and downs, our sorrows and joys, those things we regret and those we are proud of. Please use the pages to help you reflect. Rabbi Hyman Enelo wrote, "Wherever a child is born, and the old miracle of parenthood with all its heroism and love is enacted afresh, there the angels' choir chant anew the sweet tidings of glory and peace and goodwill." This year, our congregation celebrates the birth of Juniper Ann Sargent, granddaughter of Marcy Avalasset, Robert Benjamin Kunkus, and Charles William Finkenstead, grandsons of John and Potty Bottomley, Celia Beatrice Lundblade, granddaughter of Wendy Rowden and John Carton, Piper Kogan and Andrea Kogan, grandchildren of Anatoly and Olga Kogan, Taylor Jean Ratpajanikal and Cole Thomas Beebe, great-grandchildren of Betty Salzer, grandchildren of Tom and Peggy Locastro, and all the other precious souls that entered the lives of our congregants and all people over this past year. May the families with new children who grace their homes know happiness and health and the wonder of new life, growing and learning and blessing our world. Why do we sound the shofar? It is a primal call, a sound that reaches back into prehistory, that touches something deep within us. The sound wakes us from our slumber. It pierces our cynicism. It sounds the cry of the oppressed, a call for freedom and justice and compassion. It echoes in our mind, jogging loose the dreams and aspirations and reminding us of our full potential.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lishmoa kol shofar tekiah shvarim teruah tekiah shvarim tekiah teruah tekiah gdolah.
The stirring words of Avinu Malkeinu remind us of our partnership with God, reminds us that together we can bend the arc of history towards justice. Page 225.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, umol aleinu, v'yol aleinu, v'tabeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, kale dever, v'kever ra'av, me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, kale kotzar, u'mastin, me'aleinu.
This sermon is a work in progress. It's scattered on my hard drive in 7 or 8 versions. It's printed out with endless edits on each sentence, notes in the margin, red crossouts, and furiously rewritten passages on the back of each sheet. Its goal is clear. Its idea is reaching toward an ideal. I know what I want to say. Can I get it out? Can I make it come across from screen to page to pulpit to video camera to your screen? I know what I'm going for. I hope you can hear it too. Can hear it in this work in progress. These services are a work in progress. So much polish, so much editing, more planning even than the switch a few years ago to a new machzor, a new High Holy Day prayer book, the one that you now have in your lap at home rather than in the pew in the sanctuary. Each part planned in June. Music recorded in July. Sermons and prayer recorded right before Labor Day. All the pieces together in a coherent whole, God willing. Then again, the pieces of the service have always been a work in progress. The prayers that we imagine God giving to Moses on Mount Sinai having really come together over generations, over millennia, literally. And each generation adds words, prayers, paragraphs, melodies, so many melodies, their own times and perspectives layered on top of a bedrock, buried in myth and history and the places where those two meet. But always striving for the same ideals: repentance, prayer, charity, divine forgiveness. Services are always evolving. This service is a work in progress. Our congregation is a work in progress. Every year, new goals, new boards, new needs, new staff, new directions, new personalities, new ideals, and new challenges, built on 70 years of hopes and dreams, of visions and desires, built on 70 years of idealism, mixed with the business of synagogue life. Not always ideal, but for every one step back, we work together to take 2 steps forward, 2 steps toward the ideal of sacred community, beloved community, spiritually, intellectually, emotionally, religiously fulfilling Kehillah Kedosha, holy community, which, of course, can be, has only ever been, a work in progress. These last 6 months have been a work in progress. Even as we learn more and more about the disease and the virus, we never know when it will peak or surge, when it will strike someone we know or a community we care about. Those of us who plan far into the future, vacations and weddings and family visits and theater tickets, all of it on pause, living instead moment to moment, sometimes ranging far out of our homes with masks and outdoors, and even with family and friends, and sometimes at home, in 4 walls, perhaps a yard or a terrace. The screen, God willing, gives us some access to the outside world, to the connections and relationships that sustain us in person, and now across ones and zeros. These 6 months have been a work in progress. Work has been reinvented. Gone the office space and the water cooler and the bump into you in the hallway conversations, replaced by an endless series of Zoom meetings and scheduled check-ins, taking up blue or purple blocks on a digital calendar. Gone is the bridge table in the social hall and in the country club, the community center, replaced hopefully by an online game. New technologies for a favorite hobby to keep the mind sharp with tricks and bids and points. Good, not the same. A work in progress. Our schools are a work in progress. Public or private, we look to our schools to teach our kids, to help them reach their potential, to give every student an equal shot. We have come so far. More women in science and math, helping us understand our world. Who else are we missing? Anyone. Anyone can expand our horizons. What of the poor, the black and brown, the gay and transgender, and the bullied? The millions written off as too learning disabled, or too rural, or too poor, or too average. Teaching is hard. Learning is hard. So much more so during these days of pandemic. But working together, teachers and students and parents and administrators and community members can lift each child, each precious, unique, miraculous child to the heights of their potential and beyond, to the very edge of their dreams and passions, in ways that will bring blessings to our schools and the communities beyond. Raise expectations, provide resources. Surely the richest nation in human history can do this. The ideal is clear. Give each child a free, safe, quality education. The path takes work. Our schools are a work in progress. Our nation is a work in progress. It always has been. Have you read the Constitution? It's a mess, impossible, so flawed that before it could be ratified, it had to be amended not once but 10 times, and many of those amendments contain more than one promise. Our Declaration of Independence, our Constitution, sets us up for the struggles of progress with structures for debate and ideals towards which we can strive in an attempt to thrive. The very fact of a mechanism for amendments means that the founders knew that things would evolve and change and contract and grow. A mechanism for progress that would take a lot of work. Inherent in that work lies a commitment to debate and disagreement. People never agree. We struggle for our ideas. When necessary, in 1776, in 1861, Americans fought for those ideals with blood. But the Constitution sought a different battlefield, a battlefield of ideas, a system of government that used disagreement and compromise and tension in the service of creativity, creative tension, ingenious and daring and scary and deeply flawed, and so much better than dictatorial authoritarianism, so much better than monarchy or the will of one group imposed on another, or, God forbid, the tyranny of the majority under which the Jews suffered so during our millennia in exile and wandering. Creative tension allows for progress in our work in progress as a nation. Debate and compromise can lead to innovative solutions, new perspectives, new levels of cooperation and respect. Or it can lead to bitterness, acrimony, recrimination, and objectification of those with whom we disagree. On all the kindling of disagreement and dehumanization that lies in our streets today, we now pour the accelerant of Facebook and Twitter and other social media sites that echo our convictions and demonize the other without engaging one another. Instead of thoughtful debate, too many of us accept as inevitable, become numb to, inflammatory rhetoric from political leaders and pundits. And we use excuses. We excuse them. Who cares what they say? Their policies are good. We cannot forget the truth of our creation story, that words make reality. Words can lead to progress, or words can bring violence when we cling to our self-interest to excuse dehumanizing words from the people who should lead us. In this environment, disagreement rises, debate disappears, humanity fades, means become ends unto themselves, the surest path to tragedy, just tension, no creativity, no progress. We can do better. We can move this nation forward, this work in progress. We know this from our history. Our history is so filled with justice and triumph and progress, Our history so filled with racism and slavery, misogyny, anti-Semitism, anti-Irish, anti-Catholic rhetoric. Our history is a nation of immigrants who forget their origin within a generation or two. How can this history serve as a foundation for a path forward, despite the sins of our past? Because mixed with rot are seeds of promise and some very strong cornerstones. Time and again, our nation has planted seeds of virtue in questionable soil and seen growth and progress and come steps closer to realizing the promise of America. The misdeeds of America's past does not condemn the whole project, does not curse our future. As surely as a fallen tree feeds the next generation of forest growth, the deeds and misdeeds of America's past provide fertile lessons and perspectives for the next step in America's progress. Our messy, aggravating system of government allows us to transform the darker parts of our history into the very tools we need to realize this country's great promise, the promise of a work in progress. A work in progress can never be perfect. By its definition, it is imperfect, not what we usually expect from ourselves, from others, from the organizations and institutions upon which we rely. The last 6 months have required us to accept imperfection, particularly in this community of high achievers. It strains our relationships and expectations and can leave us disappointed. But maybe lower expectations would be okay. Maybe this will allow for a bit of a realignment. When things go back to normal, perhaps we will no longer expect perfect. Perhaps we will instead accept good. What would that free us to do, to think, to experience? How much time and energy do we put into that last 10%? Imagine if we stopped at 90% or even 85%. Imagine what we could do with that balance of time and energy invested in relationships, in neglected hobbies and interests, in a good book, in time with our children or exercise, or maybe just an afternoon nap. Might the last 6 months of work in progress allow us to accept ourselves as works in progress? Might they give us permission to be imperfect? And might that liberate us in some way to be more human? Every year, the High Holy Days remind us that we are works in progress. They remind us that we've been imperfect in the preceding year. They remind us that we can be better in the year to come. The fact that they come every year tells us that we will never achieve perfect, that we will always be works in progress. God willing, next year we will not be reminded of this everywhere we look. God willing, things will go back to normal, and it will take days of prayer like this to remind us that we are works in progress. But in the meantime, it's good to know that our days of awe have a message whose relevance rhymes so perfectly with this moment. Our communities and society and synagogue, our lives themselves, are not just work. They are works in progress. May we learn to hew to the ideals for which we strive, and trust that over time, over years and decades and generations, we will move closer to those ideals because we not only work, we progress. L'Shana Tova.
Take my hand, I'll take yours. Together we can open doors. If you see me and I see you for who we are, then we'll get through. If we what to do.
Don't know what to do.
You see, the world is full of strife, so many seek a better life. You ask, what can I do?
Take my hand, I'll take yours. Together we can open doors. If you see me and I see you, for who we are, then we'll get through. If we sing one song, we stand strong. We stand strong. We stand strong. We stand strong.
No more hatred, no more war. We will rise up one day more. We know what to do.
We know what to do.
We will love, not fight our way. That's our promise for today. This is what we'll do.
Take my hand, I'll take yours. Together we can open doors. If you see me and I see you, for who we are, then we'll get through. If we sing one song, we stand strong. We stand strong. We stand strong. We stand strong. We are not alone. We are not alone. Stand strong. Stand. We are not alone. 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 Stand strong. We are not alone. 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 We are not alone.
Take my hand, I'll take yours. Together we can open doors. If you see me and I see you, for who we are, then we'll get through. If we sing one song, if we sing one song, if we sing one song, we stand strong. We are not
Good morning, Shabbat Shalom, and Shana Tova. This year, as we celebrate the High Holy Days and the start of 5781, we remain physically separate, always together. As they do every year, these holidays will join us in community as we each reset, renew, and prepare ourselves for the year ahead. While our physical separation is disappointing, our suite of services and experiences will ensure that our observance is deeply meaningful. At Emanu-El, we are doing what the Reformed Jewish community does best, adapting the traditions and practices of our ancient faith so they remain relevant and central in the present moment. We are blessed to be an active congregation with talented and invested clergy, staff, and lay leadership. Proud that we have creatively reinvented ourselves during the pandemic, Emanu-El exemplifies the resiliency and strength of the Jewish people. The High Holy Days may be digital, but our community is not. Now is the time to get involved. Take the time to explore and connect with our myriad opportunities to worship and engage online or, when health conditions allow, in person. Volunteer and invest your talents to guarantee that our congregation continues to grow and succeed. We also need your financial support. When you donate to the annual fund, you help sustain Emanu-El and allow us to flourish. Together, we will guarantee a prosperous, thriving, and secure congregation for many years to come. It is my pleasure to share a piece of exciting news with regards to our mortgage. After years of work by our rabbi and numerous dedicated lay leaders, and thanks to the generosity of a large majority of our congregants, we will be able to pay off the entirety of our mortgage. Thank you to those who have given, and thank you to those who continue to pay your pledges of support. This milestone gives our congregation a degree of financial flexibility and freedom that ensures our future for years to come. Together, our collective participation, dues, donations, and volunteering will provide a vibrant and meaningful Jewish future at Congregation Emanu-El of Westchester. You are vital and valued, and I thank you for being part of our special community. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova. We look forward to being in community with you this High Holy Day season and for many years to come.
There are stars up above, so far away, we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. So it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways that we understand. Our thoughts turn to loved ones whom death has taken from us in recent days, and those who died at this season in years past. Our hearts open as well to the wider circles of loss in our community and wherever grief touches the human family. Zichronam livracha, may their memory be a blessing this new year and always. Page 292, Mourner's Kaddish. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divarach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'vyomechon, uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, b'hagala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lomei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata. Da'amiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all who are bereaved, and let us say, Amen. Our celebration of Rosh Hashanah will continue at 11:15 with a live on Zoom Torah service and discussion. Please join us for the stirring words of the Akedah and discussion of the meaning of sacrifice. Following the Torah service, we'll begin a series of 3 drive-through shofar services in our parking lot. Please come at the time for which you registered. If you did not register to come in person, you can log on for the first one at 12:30. We'll conclude today's celebration with our Young Families service at 3 p.m. live on Zoom. I want to offer immense gratitude to everyone who made these unique services possible. First, the Ritual Committee, Reopening Committee, and Board, who committed to keeping us all safe and healthy. Thank you to the singers in our quartet, Ellen Sisson, Barbara Rierick, Dominic Inferrera, and Brian Doherty, and to Kevin Walters, our wonderful accompanist. Thank you to Peggy Hellman for lending us her beautiful voice for one more year. A special thanks to Dave Venturini and the whole crew from Moving Pictures LLC for helping to bring our services safely to our congregation. We could do nothing without the temple staff and too many volunteers to count. A big heartfelt thank you to Cantor Meredith Stone for being a wonderful partner in envisioning these unique High Holy Days and working tirelessly to make it happen. Finally, I want to thank all of you, every member of our congregation, for your ongoing trust, support, and the beautiful spirit that you bring to Emanu-El. It is an honor to serve and to be part of this congregation. Please rise for a final benediction.
Ruach Elohim, may God's Spirit be with you. Ruach Elohim, keep you safe from harm. May the love of God be your shelter from every storm.